Feed is now live, Chair. You can commence with the meeting.
Okay, right. Well, now we've got going. It's welcomed to the meeting of the Standards Committee. This is a public meeting being streamed live to YouTube and via the Council's website. The meeting is also being recorded for the purposes of the minutes. I've been advised that the live stream is now up and running. If for any reason the public can no longer hear or see the meeting over the live stream, let us know and we will adjourn until the connection has been re-established. Can I ask the Governance Officer to explain the procedure for this meeting?
Thank you, Chair. Nicola Calver, Governance Manager. This is just a reminder for the members who are present at this meeting to keep your cameras on for the duration of the meeting. For voting today, we're going to take a different approach. We have all the polls for all the votes loaded up and we can issue them at any time. But should the Chair require for us to do a vote by hands, if you can clearly raise your hand close to your face, then we should be able to see it on screen. A reminder for our co-opted member, Patricia Coleman, that you're not permitted to vote. So when I do issue the poll votes which come up on your screen, you don't need to press anything.
Yes, okay, thanks.
If all members can just be aware of your surroundings for this meeting, and just a reminder that we are live streamed and it will be recorded. I'm just going to issue the recording now, so you'll hear a little announcement.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So in the meeting room today, you have yourself, Councillor William Armitage as the Chair, Councillor Cathy Rouse, Councillor Jackie Ridgway, Councillor Richard Welton, Councillor David Hancock, Councillor Diana Ruff, Councillor Heather Liggett, and Councillor Pat Kerry. We also have our co-opted member, Patricia Coleman, and the monitoring officer, Sarah Sternberg, myself, the governance manager, and Amy Bryan from the governance team. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nicola. First of all, I'd like to welcome Richard Welton to our committee. It's good to see you here, Richard. If we give everybody a wave, we know who you are.
I'll do. Thank you, William. I'll unmute myself.
I take it I'm not so welcome, William.
No one said that. It's apolitical. Remember that. Oh yes, of course you've changed.
Yes, I'm a newcomer to this one too.
Yeah, yes. I forgot that your compatriot has come to planning now. So yes, and we would like to welcome David Hancock. So give us a wave, David. Have we got the cat there as well today?
I'm sure she'll appear at some point.
Right. Okay then. Right. If we go first of all to item 1 of the agenda, and that's apologies for absence.
Councillor Pat Ancliffe sends her apologies.
And,
Okay.
Parish Councillor Derek Skinner has also sent apologies.
Right. Thank you for that. Right. Item 2, declarations of interest. Members are requested to declare the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interest and or other interest not already on their register of interest. In any item on the agenda, if they have these interests, they will withdraw from the meeting at the appropriate time. There's just one thing. I can't see anything on the. I can see a few members on the on my screen, but if you wish to speak, if you could go through the governance manager, Nicola, because I think she can see everybody, can't you, Nicola?
Yes, Chair, I can. So I'm happy to keep an eye out and let you know when members wish to speak.
Okay, right. Thank you. Item 3 is the minutes of the last meeting. It's to approve as correct. and for myself to sign the minutes of the Standards Committee heard on the 1st of July 2020. So, any questions for these? So, do I take them for correct record?
I will, if you're happy, I'll issue the poll for members to vote on.
Yes. Okay.
Has everybody had the opportunity to vote? I'll just share the results on your screen now. That's 6 votes for with 1 abstention. That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Right. We go to item 4, which is the Standards Committee annual draft report. And I'll ask the Governance Officer to go through it.
Thank you, Chair. This is the committee's annual report that's submitted to Council. This was due to come to you at your first meeting of the municipal year, and apologies to you all that was not completed in time. So although this has come a little late to you, it's nonetheless a comprehensive review of your activity over the 1920 civic year. The report covers the work you've undertaken in regard to complaints, and it includes the appendices, reports of the independent persons and the outcomes of the local government ombudsman referrals. At 7.1, it lists the areas of the Constitution that you've covered, recommended to Council for adoption, and subsequent changes are now in your 2020 version of the Constitution, which all members of the Standards Committee should have a copy of. The committee over the past year discussed at length the Code of Conduct, and specifically the Flintshire Standard, if you'll remember, which seemed a document which might underpin and reinforce some of the messages within our local Code of Conduct. However, since that point, the Parliamentary Committee for Standards in Public Life have since consulted on a new model, and it's hoped that the new code, which will be brought forward for consideration by yourself at a future Standards Committee, will encompass many of the messages within that Flintshire Standard. And if it doesn't, it'll be an ideal opportunity at that point to add it to our own code. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that, Nicola. Are there any questions? All nice and quiet. I can't see anybody waving. Okay, right. Well, we'll take a vote on that, and we'll do it. Yes, you're doing it quite well there, the poll. So if you're for or against, and then submit.
So with 7 votes for, Chair, that's carried. However, I just want to check that all members are able to access that, because I'm expecting in 8 votes. Did everybody manage to click on that for voting? Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Right, we come to item 5, which is the Gifts and Hospitality Review for 2019. And it's to receive a report advising the committee of the entries in the Council's Gift and Hospitality Register during 2019. Good.
That's me again, Chair.
Yeah.
This is another annual report brought to the committee a little later than planned due to the COVID situation. You'll see, if you have a look in the appendices, that there are 4 registrations that were made during 2019, and they're on page 21. The current protocol requests for gifts favours or hospitality above the value of 25 to be registered. For members' interest, the governance team are currently developing online registers to digitalise this, and we're going to hopefully do that through the mod.gov system, and maybe at a future meeting we'll be able to give you a short demonstration on how that would work. So the recommendation in the report is to note the Gibson Hospitality Register.
Okay. Well, shall we go to the vote on that? Well, any questions first on this?
No members are indicating they wish to speak, Chair.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll go to the vote then on this. So if you get the poll ready.
Nicola? Nikki?
Sorry, I realised I was muted at that point.
Yeah, it when I was trying to vote, it said the poll had closed before I had to vote.
Apologies. There was a little problem with it. I'm just going to relaunch it for you all. I was trying to explain that, but I'd left myself muted. I'm just going to relaunch it for you all now. And that poll is now live for you. Again, I'm just checking that all members are able to vote on this because I'm not receiving in the amount of votes expected. There we are. Okay, Chair, with all votes for, that would be carried.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, item 6, emergency delegations, and that's to receive a report informing the committee of decisions that have been made under the delegated powers to act in an emergency. And ask Sarah Sternberg to tell us about this.
Thank you, Chair. As lockdown approached in March, we looked at what delegations would be needed to keep council services going, particularly in the early stages of lockdown. There was already an emergency delegation for the head of paid service in the Constitution, and that was used on a number of occasions, and those occasions are listed at 1.2 of the report. Mostly it was used to put in place other emergency delegations to keep, as I say, to keep services going, to keep licensing going, etc. The list is at pages 28 to 32, and 1.5 shows what these have been used for. And I have to say they've been used on relatively few occasions and largely in relation to policies. Constitutionally, the use of the powers must be reported back, and it is also very much good governance to do so. So these are here for your review and noting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sarah, for that. Right, any questions?
Councillor Dave Hancock is indicating, Chair.
Yes, if you can unmute and ask a question.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a brief question because obviously a lot of these are to replace cabinet decisions. I noticed that it was renewed after legislation was introduced that allowed for remote meetings. So I'm wondering why we didn't scale it down at that point.
Chair, it was scaled down in that it was reviewed for 2 months and it was renewed for 2 months rather than 3, very much as a catch-all exercise. Yes, the virtual meetings were taking place, but just to ensure that nothing slipped through the gaps, it was renewed again. I'm about to start talking to the leader about whether it needs renewing at all for the next period.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No further indications, Chair.
Okay, well, if you could go to the vote on that, please.
Members, you'll see in front of you now the electronic poll. 4 members have had an opportunity to do that.
Nikki, Councillor Kerry's got his hand up.
Apologies. Chair. Councillor Kerry's indicating his wish to speak.
Okay,
Vicky, with this voting online, I'm pressing, I'm getting a circle come round, and then I lose contact, and they take me out of the meeting and come back in, and
Okay.
I'm missing a section. Can I be promoted? Can I vote with my hand? Because I seem to be losing the voting on the box that comes up.
So I think, as I advised, I think I did mention that I think we were missing a vote from a member. Chair, what would you like to do? Would you like me to continue with the electronic poll and do Councillor Kerry separately, or would you like to just go to a show of hands?
I think for ease of management, we'll go to a show of hands.
I haven't voted against you at all. Up to now, I've voted for each time. Whether you've got it or not, I don't know.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that part. Right. So are we taking the vote again as last time, or are we?
Chair, would you like to conduct a vote as you would do in the chamber, as in for, against and abstain, and I can count those votes for you.
Okay. So all those in favour, please raise their hand.
Chair, that's all members in favour, that's 8.
Thank you for that. Right. We'll move now to item 7, the review of the Constitution Part 2. And we come to, first of all, 7A, contract procedure rules. So have you all received these?
Yes.
Okay. Well, perhaps Sarah could go through this.
Yes, Chairman, this is just a regular update of the Council procedure rules. It has incorporated the fact that we've left the European Union and reinforced the position of the procurement in the process. I will try and answer any questions you have on this, any specific amendments, but just to say that it's not meant to be a fundamental change, just an update.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions?
David Hancock, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I've got a few. I've kind of put a few scribbled notes, so bear with me. 4.2, the whole paragraph has been deleted, and I'm a bit concerned about that.
I don't think that paragraph actually adds anything. It dates back from when we had things like compulsory competitive tendering, and there was an issue whether your internal service had to compete for it. I think it's historic, and I think that's why it's been removed.
Right. 12.1, and I kind of get the logic behind this, but I'm not sure if it's tightening things up a little bit too much, because sometimes an external offers that impartial eye that an internal can't.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. I wouldn't read that as preventing getting in an external consultant.
Right.
It's yeah, there are two situations where you would.
And the right, thank you. And there was just one other, which was a comment which I was going to ask, and I can't find where I've marked it now, but there's one particular point I was just going to ask if we could do it differently in future. There's one where we've set an amount, and the crossings out are so complicated. If you actually, it's the same thing in about 3 different times, and it actually looks like 3 different figures. So could we actually just delete the whole figure and put it in fresh, so it becomes less confusing when you're going through it, if that's all right?
Yeah, we can sort that out. That's fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any further questions?
No indications, Chair.
Okay, right. We come now to 7B. It's about the planning committee and ward members. If I could just remind everybody, ward members currently can vote and remain as part of the planning committee for applications within their ward. But as part of the annual constitutional changes in May 2020, it was introduced that ward members could no longer vote on applications within their ward, but could speak for or against them. The change was suspended pending a full review by Standards Committee. I understand that this was introduced primarily from a governance perspective, given that the licensing committee members cannot vote on applications in their wards. And as there has been a history of recent complaints, albeit not upheld in this regard, due to COVID, this has been introduced at the annual full council meeting, pending a standards review. However, on further discussion with councillors, it is clear that this blanket approach is too strong, and there are many instances where ward members can vote on applications in their wards without conflict and can add local knowledge. Therefore, it is to propose to revoke the constitutional amendment and revert to the previous policy, but with the guidance and advisory note to planning committee members that they should not vote on applications in which they have a predetermined view or a conflict of interest. Any comments? Councillor Hank.
Sorry, Chair, I'm getting on everybody's nerves now. I fully support the change. I think, whilst I understand the logic behind this, it's that it's attempting to protect the integrity of the process. I think it actually falls short on quite a few areas. 50% of our groups are made up by people who are all from the same ward. So at that point, we've totally disrupted the political balance of the committee, which we shouldn't be doing on planning or licensing. We're also taking the issue that people shouldn't, but of course, parish boundaries and district boundaries differ to ward boundaries. So you potentially have someone who is subject to that electorate making a decision at district level anyway. So again, the logic that is there is certainly flawed. So I fully support the withdrawal of this, and with the additional recommendations that obviously members are aware of the dangers of predetermination and obviously conflict of interest, which goes without saying. So I support the change that is being proposed and not the one that was put forward.
Councillor Welton, you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm not on planning. I do take a different view, probably from experiences elsewhere in the corporate world. And I've also listened on a number of occasions to presentations about the problems with too many decisions from planning being reversed on appeal, and how this can affect the amount of money that the council has and big bills coming in. We also know with the white paper that position is probably going to get worse as well. To me, it's a lot cleaner, and it's just very, very clean that, if you don't sit and you don't talk or vote on a matter within your ward, and I think that is just it's just a cleaner, logical way of dealing with it and stopping the appeals going through. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Liggett.
I'm afraid I disagree with Richard, and I agree with David. I'm sorry, but I think local knowledge and how we were before is a lot better way to go.
Thank you for that. Councillor Ruff.
Actually agree with Richard. It worked exceptionally well yesterday. Prime example, one of our ward members, she was on the planning committee, stepped down, she spoke, had a substitute. We've all got substitutes. It's much cleaner, it's much fairer. It takes a lot of pressure off of ward members, especially if it goes wrong. and I fully support this, and it's one thing I think quite strongly about.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ridgway wishes to speak.
As being on the planning committee, I agree with Councillor Liggett and Councillor Hancock. I do think you know your ward better, and hopefully as councillors we should know that, you know, if we have got a predetermined view on it, then we shouldn't be opening our mouths and voting. So it's part of what we should be doing anyway.
Thank you. Any further questions on this? It's all very emotive, really. As far as I'm concerned, I think the electorate expects you to speak on it and to vote on it, and it's expected of you. Yes, you can come in if somebody puts a complaint against you, but if you obey the rules and do it properly, and don't give any signs of a predetermination or a conflict of interest, then you've nothing to worry about. But it is entirely up to yourselves, and I think on this we should maybe ask governance to make a comment on this first.
Sorry, Sarah, did you want to take this one?
I was just going to say this is just a recommendation for good governance. As has been mentioned, it happens in relation to licensing cases. It does ensure a differentiation between somebody who has got a personal interest or predetermined the matter from the rest of the committee. But as has been pointed out, you're under that obligation anyway. Nikki, do you want to add anything?
I was just going to run through for members the rationale behind the change, just so that you're aware before you make your decision. So the rationale that we put forward was that whilst obviously that we know that members are fully aware of predetermination matters, removing voting rights on local applications can protect ward members from predetermination claims. That could be from local residents or developers. Also, some elected representatives may view that members appointed to the planning committee have an advantage to those not on planning committee to influence decisions within their wards. So really the proposal is put forward really to protect members from pressures within their electorate and electioneering, removing complications of voting against or for applications and the constituents' view on this, and it allows members to fully represent the views of their wards at each planning committee. When it comes to remote meetings and virtual meetings, it's proved really easy for members to appoint substitutes. Even for specific applications, that's something that we could look into in future. So I think there are ways that we could, even if you didn't agree a change to the Constitution today, I think there are ways in which we can support members further with this, and we'd be happy to explore those and suggest anything that might support members in their consideration of predetermination on matters in their wards.
Thank you for that. Well, we'll put it to the vote. Who's in favour and who isn't, and see what you think. But be careful how you do it. Think very carefully. Think how it will affect you personally, and if we could go to the poll.
Chair, yeah, I can issue a poll. If Councillor Kerry is struggling to vote, please let me know. So that's launched.
Recommend to cancel the proposals put to the meeting.
Just for clarity, is the proposal that's put to the meeting to not accept this, or is the proposal to accept this before we actually vote?
It's not very clear.
No, the reason for that is I wasn't sure which way you would go during the meeting. So, so when I set the poll up in advance, apologies. So, Chair, you don't have you have members who are in favour of it and members who are against it. So you probably want a motion on the table of going to the vote. So you want a proposal from the floor.
Yeah, Chair Nicola, just I'm obviously also confused as well. I know what the outcome to be. I want to vote for ward members not to be allowed to sit on the planning committee. So which way am I voting for or against? Can someone tell me so I can register which way I want to go?
Chair, would you like to make a proposal to the meeting?
Yes, I propose that we go back to the old system where ward members can vote.
So
Can
the
vote.
party,
Yes.
Okay. So if you don't want that, Chair, then you're voting against the proposal. Okay.
Yeah.
so for clarity, just before I issue the vote, so the recommendation put to the meeting is to rescind the change to the constitution formally, so that ward members may continue to sit on planning committee and vote. So I'm just going to relaunch that poll. Okay, that's all members voting. And with 6 votes for and 2 against, that motion, the motion that Councillor Armitage put is carried. So to clarify for members, that would mean that this issue would go no further. We wouldn't be putting it back into the constitution.
Okay. So it goes to the full council now, does it, as a recommendation?
Chair, no, that would not go to. Oh, sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
Nikki, I think it would go to council because at the moment we have a position where council has agreed to include it in as a provision in the constitution, so they would need to make the decision to take it out.
Thank you.
So that would go as a recommendation to council to remove.
Thank you. Right, item 8. Could we have the complaints update, please?
Thank you, Chair. At the moment, we have 9 complaints with 1 nearing closure. The number of complaints about parish councils is 6 and the number about district councillors is 3. I just want to take this opportunity to let you all know that Vicky Dawson, who is my Deputy Monitoring Officer, has recently been successful in getting the Head of Housing job at Bolsover Council. So she has officially left the role, but is working in the meantime to help me a little bit with some of this. But obviously that leaves a big gap, and it has already started to have consequences in terms of how quickly we can get these moving. So I just wanted to alert you to the fact that we're not being as quick with them as we would like. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you for that. Item 9, the work programme.
Sorry, William, can I just ask Sarah a question? Sarah, in your report, there were 5 outstanding for 2019-20. Have they been resolved?
Can I get back to you? Because I haven't actually got the figures for 2019-20 in front of me. I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right, that's if you come now to item 9, and that's the work programme. Is to update or amend the work programme for the current municipal year. So, Nicola, are you?
I think Amy's taking this one, Chair.
Yeah, I think that's me. So obviously it's set out for your next 3 meetings. So if there's anything you'd like to add or change around, then let us know and we can make those changes.
You have no indications to speak on this?
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, whereabouts is this? Sorry, I can't find it in my papers, that's all.
The back of the original pack. I'll find that page.
Page 49.
Page 49.
Yes.
Okay, just bear with me, sorry. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything that people would like to put anything else in, perhaps?
No indications, Chair.
Okay. Right. Well, item 10, urgent business. Is there any urgent business? There's nothing from myself. What about anybody else?
Again, no indications, Chair.
Okay. Right. The date of the next meeting is the 9th of December. So bring your Christmas present with you. And like, first of all, to thank you all very much for coming today. And I'd like to thank the officers for their help and guidance on this committee. So if there's nothing else, oh, and of course, just thank David Hancock for.
I think, Chair, would it be appropriate for us to thank Vicky through Sarah for all the work she's done, because she's been brilliant over all the years?
Yes, yeah.
I'd be delighted to relay that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, I declare the meeting closed, and thank you all again.
Thank you.